Well, a two-day set of meetings which will ultimately culminate in a meeting between Eskom management and members of parliament has kicked off today. It's all part of efforts to deal with the country's electricity crisis. The security of supply and operational state of power stations have come up for discussion. Energy Portfolio Committee Chairperson Sahlulele Luzipo joins us now for more, has been taking part in these discussions. A very good evening to you, sir. Good to speak to you again on Newzroom Afrika. How did day one go? What were the highlights for you?
Well, good evening to you, Tembekile, and the viewers. Look, I think we must say that we had a very quite engaging and very informative session with Labour. In the main, it was NUM, which is the National Union of Mine Workers. We had NUMSA, the National Union of Metal Workers of South Africa, and Solidarity. All of them, they shared their experiences and as well as what do they think should have been particular interventions. I must say, obviously for now, as we have shared with them, we're coming to get their views. What do they think? And I've always argued that in a situation of this nature, we need multiple minds that can be able to assist in finding a solution. First, your short-term as well as your medium and long-term solutions. Because if we want to resolve the issue, we must talk about the immediate, but at the same time, we must look at future projections and what will have to be done so that we don't find a recurrence of a situation of this nature.
And what exactly did the interest groups, shall we call them, tell you today? What do they see as the solutions and what needs to come next? Because at the moment, it sounds like a recycling of proposals, but little progress.
Look, I may not agree with you on that one. First, you must understand, workers are the ones that are in the cold face of the experience. They are the ones who are given a responsibility to keep the lights on, but at the same time to conduct that painful exercise where they have to switch the lights off. So we think that we're this time around talking directly to those who represent the affected people. For an example, one of the things that they were raising very sharply is that you need to have a stable management. They've argued amongst the proposals that they were making was that they have a very bad experience where people perform well in their positions, and whilst they are still performing well, responsible for specific power stations, they are then removed without any statement of why they will have to be removed into those areas. We are not saying that they are correct, and therefore their view is that if you keep people in those areas and they perform to their maximum, then you create what is called management stability. The second thing that they were raising was that you get people who perform. They made an example about one of the people who was responsible for the Kendall power station, that when that manager arrived, they had two units that were operational, but within a period of 7 months, 6 units were operational. Then that person was removed and then sent somewhere else in a position that is off of the skill that he possesses. And somebody was brought in, and now, as we speak, that power station is now operating with only 1 unit. We are not saying that is correct what they are saying, but they were giving us now concrete facts of what has to be done. Mm-hmm. Amongst other things they were saying, and which is a very serious matter that you said, we'll have to take up with the board, that it will be very difficult to empower women if you've got chauvinistic men who make it as a confirmed statement, so they say, that women are not capable enough to meet certain demands or requirements or certain areas of qualification. Now, the argument is that if you want to deal with issues of transformation, you have to acknowledge and accept the fact that women have got capabilities at times that are even more than their male counterpart. Mm. And those are the things that we will have to interact and find what could be the solution. Right. The other issues is the issue that we're raising, that for what the power stations are purposed for, you need to ensure that what their purpose for is the one that is utilized. For an example, they were saying in many instances, you find that a coal power station, it is meant for what they call pulverized coal, which is more of ash. But instead of using that, they would then what will be used is oil and all those things that we say that then for what that power station it is purpose for, you need to utilize it in that particular capacity. So there were those issues that we think that you will have to when we interact with the management and the board, we will then be able to get clarity in terms of the accuracy of that information, because if those issues were to be attended to, then we think we can address the issue that we will go a step far to address some of those challenges that we have.
So Eskom management just this week had appeared before the Standing Committee on Public Accounts. And yes, there are also the various other committees which you are part of as well that deal with these issues. How will the findings from this two-day trip assist Parliament in not just holding Eskom accountable, but helping the country dig itself out of this crisis?
Look, I think you will understand SCOPA has its role that they play. It's why it's called it's for public accounts. It is about how you utilize the public resources of the state. Ours will have to go beyond that to say then how do we start to rectify. And I think I will be offside then to say when we have not engaged with the management and the board and start to say this is how it will assist. But generally, we think from where we are sitting, especially as the two portfolio committee and the select committee, which is select committee is much more relevant because it is closer to provinces and local government. We will then be able to put up proposals of what we think will have to be done as immediate intervention that must lead us to a solution. Like I said from the onset, that we need not only find solutions for yesterday and tomorrow, but we must find solutions also for the future, so that when such situation arises, at least we borrow from the experience of what we have been through in the past. So we are looking at creating a past of this current experience, but at the same time to prepare a future that is informed by the past of the current experiences.
All right, Mr. Sahlulele Luzipo, Energy Portfolio Committee Chairperson, part of a team that's currently on a two-day set of visits to Eskom, interacting with various interest groups as well as Eskom management. That'll happen tomorrow. We'll continue to keep you across the latest developments from that visit.